What's going on, guys? Abrasius here. So today we have a release of the main rulebook plus Paths of Magic and magic items for 2.05 version. So I'm really excited. I want to present you the recap of what has changed. I'm not going to list all the changes, but I'm going to list the changes that have any sort of impact whatsoever. We see lots of changes that are just technical. We see lots of rules lawyering, but I don't think that it really matters. So let's just dig into it. I would like to also point out that I'm really grateful for the 9th Age team for bringing this up to us. Like, I know how it is, and I just wanted to say thanks. So let's dig with the positive changes. So the first change I would like to point out, you have a picture here. So in 2.04, if you charge the left crushers first, then you charge the right crushers, the Tauruks could have just fled from the right crushers just to be behind the left crushers, and you had no way of catching them. You had to, they had to take the dangerous terrain tests, but they were relatively safe. In the new version, if the frontage of the fleeing unit touches the unit that already charged it, it will get destroyed. So in 2.05, if you charge the left crushers first, and then you charge the right crushers, if the Tauruks decide to flee from the right crushers, they will just be destroyed. So that's a good change, I think. Not really changing that much, but it prevents your opponent from escaping really dire situations, so that might be useful. The priority of multiple charges has changed slightly. Like only two things switched. So the things that switched previously, you had to not move the charged unit at all, and then the next priority was to charge as many units as possible. And now the more important one is to charge as many units as possible, and then the next priority is not moving the aligned unit at all. So in this picture, in 2.04, you weren't able to charge both the Kadim and the Tauruks into the Vargheists, because Kadim charging means the Vargheists have to align the charges on the front. And because of Vargheist aligning and the priority modifiers in the previous version, you actually won't be able to charge both of them in, because if you decide to do that, according to the priority of modifiers, you just charge the Tauruks in and the Kadim charge is failed charge. So in this new version, you actually can get both of those units in. So first you will charge the Kadim in, the Vargheists will align, and then you will be able to get the Tauruks in as well. So this is a good change as well, I think. Challenge after refusal. So before, if the active player decided to challenge and you refused it, you couldn't challenge anymore. Like, it is silly if only one unit is fighting, because obviously if he challenges back, then the model that's already challenged can accept it. But in multiple combats, it's actually pretty interesting. So what we have here is 2 units of Empire infantry versus a dragon and 2 dogs with a champion. So after the charge of the vampires and the counter charge of the infantry in 2.04, if Wolf's champion issue a challenge, then the dragon can basically kill both of the, like, if you accept the challenge, then you cannot challenge the dragon, and it's okay, because the dragon just kills the other champion. The wolf champion probably kills the champion of the top unit, and then with breath weapon and storms you can easily outweight the combat resolution and probably kill both units. But in 2.05, if the dog's champion challenges, you can refuse it, and the small unit on the left can still challenge out the dragon. So the dragon will only be able to do 4 wounds, and most likely everything from the vampire side will crumble. So I think it's also pretty interesting change. I think it's really good. Value, I think it's good. I think it helps the evocation lore. Like, the one thing that doesn't really click here is that it is another thing that could help in the combat. Like, it can help against shooting, but the armies that have evocation mostly cannot shoot. Undying Dynasties will take it more. So there's that. A bit more ranged threat is always good for the evocation. So then the number 3 becomes direct instead of missile. Yeah, I guess that's a bit a reversion of what we had before. Number 5 spell becomes 24 inch range, and they added the version that is not focused. So again, a small buff. And there is a cultist sacrifice. This is also big. So if you haven't noticed, the changes that are boldened are the ones that I consider worth noticing. So you sacrifice 1 to 3 wounds based on your leadership of the unit instead of 2 to 5. This is big. Like in Dread Elves or in Curse of the Dark Gods, if you only have to sacrifice 1 wound instead of 2 or even 3, that's a big change. That's a very, very nice boost to occultism. And the number 3 spell, which was the -1 weapon skill, got casting value lowered by 1, which is also nice, I think. Not really necessary, like occultist casting values are already really, really low, but number 5, other range on not focused, and number 6 on thaumaturgy, 24 inch, also not focused, not missile version. So as you can see, all the snipes got a bit more range, but mostly on the not focused version, so that's okay. Also number 6 of witchcraft got rework, so battle focus against the target. Yeah, kind of good. Not really sure if it makes that much of a difference compared to the previous one, but it also can work for shooting, although the casting value is 10 up, which is a bit high. It should combo well with the hereditary, but otherwise I'm not sure if this will change a whole lot. Item price changes, yeah, like for the most part, the price changes here are very conservative. You can read them out here. I think I agree with most of them. Maybe I would change 1 or 2 items, but like 5 points don't matter that much. Then there are artifact changes, also some small item changes, but there are 3 important changes. So Obsidian Rock got more expensive, but affects unit within 6 inches. And I think that's huge for many armies, where you can really hide your key units within the 6 inch. Like in Sylvan Elves, you can hide something like units of skirmishers, and MR2 is actually pretty good. If you even combo with it Crystal Ball, but it's 90 points, so maybe not so great, but it's basically +3 to the dispel roll, and makes it harder for the casting to get off. So that seems pretty interesting. Scepter of Power, not dominant. I think like a Scepter of Power is one of my favorite items, but because it was dominant, it is rarely used. I think it's a good change. And no point rise, really good. And the most important change from all the items, I think, maybe except Obsidian Rock, not sure. The Potion of Strength got 5 points more expensive, but it is no longer 1 use only, so you just get Crush Attack. I think it's really, really good. It should be used. Undying Dynasty Nomarch, or any Wizard on Chariot, or Real Oak Shaman in the unit. Like, that's only 30 points, and you are threatening a lot, like really a lot. So I would guess that this should be good. Other changes worth noticing, yeah. There are three other changes. So the first one, you can go out of the board. So reforming or wheeling when you are near the board edge is just easy. Ghost Step ignores dangerous terrain. Yeah, it previously ignored the terrain, but I think it still suffered from the dangerous terrain from open terrain if you had like the shamanism spell on. So it's just a small clarification. And there is a clarified priority of removing models in close combat. So and now we come to the bad part. So I think there are 2 negative changes, and I unfortunately think that while all the positive changes are nice, they are not really significant. Like, they don't really matter. And then the negative changes are the ones that kind of screw some things up. So the new covers. So apparently what now happens is you don't look at the whole unit, but you look only at the facing of the unit. So as you can see on the picture, there are Sylvan Archers, the unit of Witch Elves, and the Hydra. 204, if you wanted to shoot the Sylvan Archers at the Blades of Nab, and it was no cover, because you've seen more than half of the unit. And now you can just put the Hydra just on the side of the unit, and it's hard cover. I think it's really rough. Really, really rough change for the shooting armies. Especially because you can also do things like this. Just 1 model into the ruins, and in 204 none of those units had covers, because yeah, why would they? And in 205 I think basically with ruins in your deployment zone, you can possibly hide for the most of the game with your whole army, because you can fit your whole army in the ruins in such manner, just throwing off some magic missiles and then trying to steal the scenario in the last rounds. I think shooting armies will have a much harder time on scoring high, because if you know what you're doing, you can just hide and help covering yourself like this, and yeah, that's just a huge change, and I don't think it's very called for. I really think it's really stupid. It doesn't add anything to the game. It allows some crazy abuses. I'm pretty sure that what I'm pointing out here is not even the tip of the iceberg. Like, it creates really stupid situations, and I would love to hear what was on the mind of the creators. And the second change is smaller, and it doesn't affect everyone, but the number 6 divination spell, yeah. The ones of you who already read the magic were probably wondering why you didn't put out the divination spell in the positive section. I think it's crazy. I mean, this is one of my favorite spells in the game currently. The permanent, the minus combat resolution, which I think is huge. It has a good range and low casting value. Like, there is small positive that you can put cowboys in units, but on the other hand, if your cowboy cannot enter the unit, like, it is pretty much screwed. Like, -2 combat resolution combined with any duels, that's gone cowboy. And the worst part is that it replaced the spell that was pretty much never picked, and the divination was like top three laws, definitely, probably top 1 lore. So it makes divination significantly better. And armies that previously struggled against the cowboys, like Undying Dynasties, Highborn Elves, Sylvan Elves, all of those 3 armies are common users of divination. So I think it's a huge mistake. For the summary, yeah, as you can see, there are minor changes that like, most of the changes are okay. I'm fine with them. But the 2 negative changes are really huge in my opinion. It just makes it harder and harder for new players to come in, because the bad changes are like the cover change is absolutely counterintuitive. And if lawyers wrote our rulebook, it would look exactly like this. I think if you take the tax bill from Poland and the rulebook, they are written in very similar language. What I would love to see is all the general rules to be in the main rulebook, and all the corner cases, which are now in the general rulebook, just be put into the FAQ, and have like 50 pages general rulebook and then like 60 pages FAQ. And if anyone wants to check a very specific case, then they can just go to the FAQ. But if anyone wants to learn the rules and understand what the game is really about, they just go to the general rulebook, which should be much smaller than it is now. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it showed you how the update changed. Hope it will make it easier for you to translate into the new main rules. If you have any opinions on the new changes, if you disagree with me on those, please let me know in the comments below or via private message. I would enjoy to have a fruitful discussion about this. Since the new books are out, will be out pretty soon, I hope, I will do reviews of 4 books that I'm more familiar with. So the Dread Elves, Infernal Dwarfs, Demon Legions, and Vampires. And I would like to have one more book to be reviewed, and I don't know which one. So I'm asking you guys, which book should I take a closer look on? I will try to get someone who is more familiar in the army than me. And the army that you will pick the most will get extra book review, and I will try to get someone good to talk about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one. Cheers!